Welcome to our third episode of Movies with Reid. Today we'll be discussing Good Will Hunting. It's one of my favorite movies that I've ever seen in all of Mr. Reid's classes. My name is Kyle Spear. I'm a senior here at Swampscott High School.
I'm Joseph Ford. I'm a senior at Swampscott High School.
I'm Tom Reid. I teach media literacy here at Swampscott High School.
And today we're talking about Good Will Hunting, as Kyle said. It's a movie about a young man. I think he's 20 years old, and has a big talent for he's a really intelligent person. And he was just a janitor at a college, and there's people that knew about his intelligence and wanted him to do more with his life. And I haven't seen it since freshman year. It was the first movie we watched. So do you think you could give a better analysis of it?
Sure. One of the things that I thought I would talk about is why it's the first movie that I show in my introductory to media literacy class, because there's a lot of films I could show, and unlike Kyle, I would say this is not one of my very favorites, but I show it because students like it. It's a good film to discuss. I think it's an example of a film that has a lot of really positive qualities. I love that it celebrates therapy and shows a smart, compassionate therapist in Robin Williams' character. On the other hand, there are a few things in it that I really don't like. I think one of them is going to be in one of the clips that are coming up. But one of the things I try to do in my classes is help students understand that it's okay to have differing opinions. It's fun to share them respectfully, and it's even fun if they don't have to agree with me, because I think starting with a film that I like some parts of but not others it's a good place to start.
Yeah, the first time I saw this movie, it was I think last year in my junior year. I took I think I took the intro to media literacy class a little bit late, but I agree that I think this movie really taught a lot of really good media literacy concepts, and I think it's a great movie to start out, even if you're just trying to watch a few movies in Mr. Reid's classes. I think it's a really great movie if you want to check it out. So our first, to kind of kick off the movie, the first clip we have is sort of talks about Will's genetics and math and how he's really good. So the first clip will kind of give more of an in-depth summary of Will's kind of persona and his character as displayed in the film.
Yeah, he's at MIT, where he's only a custodian, but he has made himself a custodian in one of the highest universities for mathematics and science in the world.
He has a crazy talented gift for math. He's really good at it. So the first clip will show that.
Sorry.
What do you do?
Sorry.
That's people's work. You can't graffiti here. Don't you walk away from me.
Hey, fuck you.
Oh, you're a clever one. What's your name?
Looks right.
So for more context in this clip, the professor shown, he's I think mathematics professor at MIT. It was Professor Lambeau. He's a huge character in this movie, and he's basically in this clip he's looking at the whiteboard that was a really complex problem that was supposed to be given to his class and a really tough challenge for his mathematics class at MIT, and he comes back to see that Will has solved it, and he's just a custodian, so he's kind of perplexed by the whole idea and how Will managed to solve this problem.
Yep.
There's something else I wanted to say earlier, but I forgot to say it. Matt Damon is the star of the movie. Didn't he also produce and direct everything?
He didn't direct it. It was directed by Gus Van Sant, but he and Ben Affleck wrote it, which is pretty amazing. And he wrote it as, I think, his final project in getting a degree in filmmaking in college. And you don't usually get a film made on your own, but it was such a powerful story that Gus Van Sant agreed to directed, and they got a really good cast, and
Yeah,
they got
Robin
it made. And they,
Williams in there is huge.
what?
Robin Williams in the cast
Yes,
is huge.
yeah, he's wonderful. And they ended up winning the Oscar, not for Best Picture or Best Acting, but for Best Screenwriting, because the script is so solid.
Yeah, that's also really impressive that Matt Damon was able to like write this story. It was really young into his acting career too. He was pretty young. Yeah.
I like the relationship that Will and Chucky have. It's kind of the same that Ben and Matt have in real life, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that helped.
I remember when I first saw the movie in your class, it was so long ago that I didn't remember specifics from the movie, but I remember I really loved the movie, and Will's character stood out to me a lot, how he like proved everyone wrong about himself, and he made it for his friends, like how Chucky wanted him to. I remember there's a scene where Chucky was saying, just please make it out of here, because you have a gift that none of us have.
That's right.
You need to put used to it.
Yeah, and Chucky's, for more context, Chucky is his sort of childhood friend who is played by Ben Affleck, I think, is it?
Yeah, they do construction together, but Chucky tells him, at one point, Matt says, Will is his character's name, says, yeah, we're going to be doing this for the rest of our lives. We'll take our kids to see Little League. I'm looking. And Chucky says, no, if you're got a golden ticket, if you don't get out of here and do something with it, you're insulting the rest of us guys, because we would give anything to be like you. So it's a big scene. But one of the interesting things is that I hope this is sort of a spoiler alert, but it takes 4 different people. You know, Chucky and Lambeau and Sean, the therapist, and Skylar, Matt's girlfriend. It takes 4 people to help him because he's so damaged and defensive in the beginning. He was an abused orphan, so you find out that backstory. And that's why he doesn't really want to make any of himself. He's so defensive. But between all of them, all the different ways people help each other, he finally gets enough help to grow and to go out and really make something of his life.
Yeah, also for more context in the story, so it was he always grew up in like the slums, and him and his friends always were kind of known for getting into like they had like really rough activities growing up, like they would get into fights and stuff. And the main context, or the main story that is in the beginning, him and his friends got into a fight, and Will ended up he ended up assaulting a police officer, which then inspired his relationship with Professor Lambeau, and then later Dr. Sean McGuire, the therapist. And so as the story progresses, his relationship with Sean really transforms into sort of like a friendship, and really a close brotherhood. And I think as the story develops, the second clip we have that shows them even getting into a fight is really meant a lot for me watching the movie, because as I kind of pictured it, like a therapist would never really like attack or even like stand up against a patient that they had, and I think this clip really describes it well, how their relationship is sort of different.
Yeah, it's really the first time that Will has been brought to Sean. They took him to 2 other therapists, and one of my minor misgivings about the film is the other 2 therapists are so weak and easily Will wraps him around his finger, and most therapists wouldn't be so easy to fool as the first 2. But then he goes to Sean, and this is their first scene, and you can see that Will is not really wanting to have therapy. It was a condition of his parole. Lambeau gets him out of he was going to go to jail for hitting the police officer who was trying to break up the fight, but now he's going to, he gets parole as long as he goes to a therapist and works with Lambeau.
Yeah, so we can show this next clip here.
You're saying any port in the storm?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that means you.
In what way?
Maybe you're in the middle of a storm, a big fucking storm.
Yeah.
The sky's falling on your head, the waves are crashing over your little boat, the oars are about to snap. You're just pissing your pants, you're crying for the harbor, so maybe you did what you gotta do to get out. You know, maybe you became a psychologist.
Bingo. That's it. Let me do my job now. You start with me. Come on.
Maybe you married the wrong woman.
Maybe you should watch your mouth. Watch it right there, Chief, all right?
Well, that's it, isn't it? You married the wrong woman. What happened? Why'd she leave you? Was she, banging some other guy?
If you ever disrespect my wife again, I will end you. I will fucking end you. Got that, Chief?
Time's up.
Yeah.
At ease, gentlemen.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, this clip really stood out to me because it kind of shocked me how their early relationship you could tell that Robin Williams, who was playing Dr. Sean McGuire, he was sort of different as a therapist in the way that he acted towards Will.
Yeah, there's a cliche in films that the people who do things the right way never seem to solve the toughest problems, but the guy who breaks all the rules comes in. It's kind of appealing to the audience to think, they're mavericks. But my wife is a psychologist, and I promise you, she has never grabbed a patient by the neck, nor would she. And so it's a little bit of a fairy tale-ish. Yeah. They're both supposed to be tough guys from South Boston, and that's how they first connect. And that's another thing that makes the film popular around here, is that it was shot around Boston and Cambridge, and even there's a reference to Kelly's Roast Beef.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember you saying that your wife thought it was like not a good portrayal of psychologists.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, because I think overall this film celebrates some good qualities that therapists have. Overall, they're patient and empathic and smart, and Robin Williams is all of those things. Yeah. But just the violent part.
The violent part, and the first two you said wouldn't give up that easy.
Right. Right. Oh, the first two. But even, I don't think they needed that. But they're also very young when they wrote it. They also said that now when they look back at it, they can't believe how much they swore in the film, but that's how they talked when they were 20, They would do it different. Now they're a lot older and would probably do it a little differently. Yeah.
And as the story progresses, the relationship between the two, it progresses to even, it wasn't always this violent throughout the film.
Right, no, it becomes a really good therapeutic relationship.
Yeah. And so also one of my favorite relationships aside from this was the relationship, as we said, I think Joseph mentioned earlier, the relationship with Chucky and Will. I think it was, I always really liked how at the beginning of the story they were kind of it showed his friend group and how they were sort of hanging around and getting into these dangerous activities, and then it kind of inspired later actions to the film, and how it really showed that Will stood up and changed his life for the better.
And they'll all do anything for each other. They've got that bond.
Yeah, it's kind of like a sort of die-hard group of brothers that they have there. So I think...
But remember we talked about Three Idiots? Remember, if you're a faithful viewer of this show, you remember we talked about Three Idiots and how the guys in Three Idiots would at emotional moments, they'd cry, they'd hug each other. These guys don't do that. They're like South Boston guys that
opposite.
Roughhouse with each other and make fun of each other, but they love each other just the same.
Yeah. It's a really great portrayal, I think. Yeah. It's really good acting. This whole one thing I really wanted to say is this whole movie is really great acting. You can just tell it's even for how young they are, it's awesome.
Even Casey Affleck, who plays this scrappy young guy, is so different from the depressed character he played a little later with in Manchester by the Sea. Yeah.
So I think it'd be really good for our last clip. We have it's kind of sort of the iconic clip that sort of defines the film, as I think Joseph mentioned earlier, where Ben Affleck's character Chucky is telling Will that he needs to sort of move on because he has this God-given talent for mathematics and he needs to make it out. He has the golden ticket, as you said earlier. So we can show this last clip here.
So when are you done with those meetings?
The week after I'm 21.
Yeah, they gonna hook you up with a job or what?
Yeah, fucking sit in a room and do long division for the next 50 years.
Yeah, probably make some nice bank though.
I'm gonna be a fucking lab rat.
Better than this shit. Way out of here.
I want to way out of here for. I mean, I'm gonna fucking live here the rest of my life. Be neighbors, we'll have little kids, fucking take them to Little League together up Foley Field.
Look, you're my best friend, so don't take this the wrong way. In 20 years, if you're still living here, coming over my house to watch the Patriots game, still working construction, I'll fucking kill you. That's not a threat.
What?
That's a fact. I'll fucking kill you. What the fuck are you talking about? Look, you got something none of us have. Oh, come on. Why is it always this? I mean, I fucking owe it to myself to do this or that. What if I don't want to? No. Fuck you. You don't owe it to yourself. You owe it to me.
Yeah, that
clip.
clip is, yeah, it's really good. So much swearing now, like as you mentioned
I know.
earlier.
I think that Matt Damon's embarrassed by that now.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't mentioned at all is Skylar.
Oh yeah.
And the romance plays a pretty strong role in this.
Mhm.
She's part of what helps him realize how scared he is.
Mhm.
And at first he rejects her, so she goes and takes a job in California.
Yeah, that's like the major part of the story.
Yeah.
It's really good. There's so many good relationships in this
Yeah.
film, and it really helps define the story. I think it's one of the things that made me really like latch on and really like this movie.
Yeah, and again, spoiler alert, but at the very end, Will does finally get a good job, but then he decides he has to choose between going to that job in Boston or going to California, going after Skylar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of a love versus career choice at the end. Although maybe you could say he could probably get a good career, get a good job anywhere, but can he find a woman who loves him like Skylar does?
Yeah. I'd say if you're looking for like a really emotional movie with like really cold hard relationships, I'd really suggest this movie. It's one of my favorites. Like I said, I've seen in Mr. Reid's class, and if you're just looking for a great movie, or if you're even looking for a movie just about Boston or in the local area, I'd really suggest this movie. It's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. And another thing, after I watched it back then, I told my parents obviously, and they said they loved the film. Like that's one of
Nice.
their favorites from when they
Yep.
were like my age.
Yeah, even though I have a couple little disagreements with it, overall it's a wonderful tribute to friendship, romance, and therapy. You know?
Yeah. So we want to thank you for tuning in once again to another episode of Movies with Reid. It's been fun. Yeah, that's all
Yeah,
we
thanks
got. Yeah.
for inviting me, and thanks to Mr. Dillette's crew for putting on this show.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.